Well, hello. Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight on yet another episode of For the Love of Details. I appreciate all of you who are already in the chat. We've been doing some pre-partying. I love to see that. If you're catching this later after the show has been posted, also thank you for watching. Before we get started, let's mention that there is a big Memorial Day sale that went live today on Thor. 35% off Detail Co., 20% off Thor towels, and 15% off everything else. Use the link in the description to get you some cool products today. So you guys, I am so excited for this conversation tonight. I have been dying actually to talk about this. So let me ask you something. Let me kind of get your minds going here. Have you ever felt like you're working harder in your detailing business than ever? You're booked, you're busy, you're grinding, but somehow you still don't feel like you're getting ahead, right? Like you're making money, but it still feels chaotic. You're tired. If anything goes wrong, you automatically kind of feel thrown off for the day. If you do feel that way, it's not just you. And I promise you, it's not just your skill. It's not the products, and it's not even your setup per se, but the lack of systems. So there is something that separates a detailer who might be stuck as to one who actually scales their business by way of something that is called an SOP. So standard operating procedures, which can completely change the game. This is what we are talking about tonight. This is one of those topics that seems to be gatekept across the industry. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but nobody really wants to share their SOPs because God forbid, you know, my systems, I might give you the business or make you the money instead of myself. Luckily though, tonight we have somebody coming on who knows all about SOPs and who is willing to not to gatekeep, but actually open that gate and flood us with some knowledge and real understanding of what it means to scale your business. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on this amazing man, the man of the hour, Conway. Hi.
Hey, Christine, how's it going?
Man, it's going. It's definitely a Monday. But I am happy to be here and I am happy to have you back on. You were just on a couple weeks ago, but we had so much to talk about. And this is one of those areas that we could probably go on for hours. And so I really thought, and you thought as well, that its own dedicated show was probably worthwhile. So thank you for being here.
Well, time just seems to fly so fast when we're doing these things too, and it's like
It does.
we just start and all of a sudden it's over, and
I agree.
But it's a good time anytime we get together, and I enjoy coming on and hopefully giving some information, helping out, and definitely howdy to everybody out there hanging out with us tonight.
Yes, thank you guys for being here. I like what Chris just said. I've been called an SOB, but never had an SOP. I feel you, Chris. You know, SOPs, let's kind of start with this conversation. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you, Conway, to tell me whether or not you agree with this statement. There are detailers in business who are either technicians or operators. And what I mean by that is a technician is somebody who is just going to do the work, right? But an operator is someone who actually figures out how it should be done. Do you feel like there are more technicians in this industry than actual operators, or how do you feel about that?
See a lot of that actually happen, and what I usually see is if you takes no time to scroll through all the Facebook groups or different places, and you see a lot of people talking about struggles and issues they're having, whether it be customer relations, quality control, where a customer messaged them with a problem and now wants them held liable for something that they did to the vehicle or something of that nature. The problem is a lot of those people are operating as like an employee would. They're not operating as a business, and it's easy to get caught up in whether it's the way you price things, the way you look at things, the way you from start to finish of the way you should be prioritizing your day, your business, your week, your month, your operations, the scaling, everything. If you think on the level of an employee or just a technician, um, you will struggle because you may be a good technician or a good detailer, but business portions of it are next level beyond that you need to address. Other words, you're going to have a lot of issues.
Yeah. So before we get into what SOPs actually are, and I know that you actually have some SOPs to share tonight, if I'm
Yep.
correct, which I know
Yep.
the last podcast we were on, I think it was Tanner. There was a couple more people who were asking if you were actually willing to share. So I'm excited that you are willing to do that. But let's talk about what scaling a business actually means. Before the SOPs, I feel like there's a huge misconception that scaling means more hours or more cars, when really
Well,
that's not what it means. I mean, do you agree, or how would you talk
correct.
about scaling?
Correct. I mean, it can mean more business, more cars. It can mean more people to manage that. It can mean, it's going to be relative to everything that you're doing, depending on your needs, wants, and desires out of that business. Um, this is one of the things that I see in the industry that is a big problem, where you get a lot of the weekend warriors that want to get into it.
Hmm.
And it creates conflict, believe it or not, for the professionals in the industry, because those guys are willing to go out and do it for $50. And the problem is that the detailer is trying to make a living doing that. So how does he combat that as far as it goes? How does he? Because that guy's willing to look at that income as, if I make $50 an hour as an employee, I'm doing all right. But the problem is, if you're doing that as a business, it's not going to work, because a business needs to be able to grow, expand, cover expenses, overhead, look at the fact that it's going to have needs to continue to thrive. And if you're just doing it enough to pay yourself, you're never going to have a business that amounts to anything. So therefore, you need to operate it as a business that pays you, and you're an employee of said business, basically.
Yeah.
But the business is the important part. You get a lot of things where adding more cars doesn't always mean that you're making more money.
Yes, exactly.
If you're charging $50 a car and now you got to add 100 cars, well, maybe the operating procedure is you need to change your structure and pricing. You should be $120 an hour. Now you can do less cars, but still make that kind of money without working yourself to death. Money, sometimes we lose sight of the other biggest important part, and that's time. Time is the one thing you can't get back. You can't make more of it. You can't grow it. You can't nothing. Money can be made. Money can be, generated. Time cannot.
Yeah. And man, does time get away from you, or can it get away from you within, a detail? I think this too. If the process lives in your head and just in your head, then how can a business grow past you, right? So it's the idea of these SOPs and the fact that they're really just steps, but they should be written. Do you
Correct.
agree with that?
Correct.
Right?
So for our shop, we have a manual, a handbook, basically, in essence, which contains our SOPs. And it contains SOPs, whether it's what time employees should be there to start the day and what is expected of them, and the basics of, maybe it's how a process is done from the beginning of a wash, clay, seal type process. Maybe it's checking in a customer, that process of making sure you are securing the well-being of the business and the customer at the same time by getting proper authorization, proper, looking over the vehicle before you're working on it, and making sure that the customer notes that these are the issues before you've even touched it. So that way you're not responsible for things that aren't your issue. There's a lot of these things that I see that in these groups where people they could head a lot of this stuff off if they had such a manual to go by. And as an owner, even if you're a one person owner, you can't remember everything all the time.
Yeah.
So it's important to write these things down, document them, create a process, institute them, and make sure you follow that process of your SOP all the time.
Yeah. And I mean, I know SOPs, we talk about them in regards to an actual business, but SOPs aren't necessarily a corporate thing. Again, they're just steps. So whether or not you're, in a business, a brick and mortar, you're a mobile detailer, or you're detailing out of your driveway, SOPs are for everyone.
Well, even an enthusiast can set up SOPs that make their time more manageable. Because like we were talking, time's a valuable thing. So let's say you do enjoy going out and washing and cleaning and detailing your own vehicles, or maybe your mom's vehicle or your sister's or whatever it is. But let's say your process is, I got to go drag the pressure washer out and carry it out here. And then I got to spend 30 minutes to set it up. Oh, now I got to measure out all my stuff. And I got to go get my crates and boxes of chemicals and bring them out here. And now I got to go get so now you've spent 5 hours just getting your stuff ready. All right, it's time to clean a car. Hold it, the day's already over with. It's coming through processes. It's also like SOPs for an enthusiast that once a year you're going to clay your vehicle because or you're going to check it. At least check it maybe once or twice a year, every 3 to 6 months maybe. Stuff like that. I mean, it's not just for business. It can be for anybody.
Yeah. Ricardo says, hey, what's wrong with detailing out of a driveway? Absolutely nothing, because that's where I detail. So no shade on where anybody details, it's all the same. And, organization, as you were saying, has a lot to do with that, because I know when my garage was in shambles, as you were just kind of expressing, it took me so long to even get things together to start a detail that by the time I started, I was already flustered, anxious. And even though I've done the process several times, my brain is already out the door.
Look at how you get frustrated. It becomes not a happy place anymore.
Exactly.
You really don't want to do it at that point.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Bobby says here, one of the first things I teach my mentees is to record themselves so they can see where they're being effective and not. I think Ivan talks about this too. What do you think about that, Conway?
It could be good. I mean, if you're like, let's say a single person operation and you're doing things and you're trying to figure out how to increase your efficiency, your performance, or maybe you need to record yourself so that way you go, oh, look at that. I missed that spot completely. I totally missed the underneath rockers. I forgot behind the gas door. Whatever it is. And those are things that allow you to improve. So it could be beneficial. I think in a setting where maybe you've got even more employees like we have, one of the things we have is somebody that's a quality control, whether that's me or whoever else. We're checking off on things. And that way there's a second set of eyes that covers things.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, guys, as I say every show, please go ahead and drop your questions. I've already started a few, and I promise we will get to them. So let's kind of start with profit, because profit is one of the reasons you want to have an SOP, right? An SOP, a procedure, is going to help you build or scale financially. So what exactly does this look like? Let's talk about maybe the three major things that an SOP can do for us. I don't know. Is it efficiency? Is it reputation? What are some of the things that an SOP is going to do to increase our profit?
Well, it can do a lot of things. So, and you listed a lot of the primary ones. Things like it will increase your efficiency, because now if you're watching and then you're learning and you're growing and you're creating an SOP on the procedure, let's say, of how to clean an interior, where you start, where you finish, Or even, let's say, a full detail. Like for us, we start in interiors first before we ever clean the outside. And a lot of that is because when you're blowing them out and everything else, the last thing you want to do is blow all that dirt and stuff all over clean paint.
Yeah.
So we work from the inside out. And mind you, I am revealing some of our SOPs right now when I
There
tell
you
you
go.
these things. So as you hear these, I'm telling you some of our SOPs. Will they fit what you do? Every business is going to be different. So you have to determine if that's an SOP that you can adopt and go, you know what, that makes sense for my business too. But an SOP, here's one of the biggest ones right off the bat. And customer pulls into our parking lot. They've called us on the phone. Our SOP is we don't make any actual prices over the phone. We don't make any actual, guarantees of anything over the phone. We want to see your vehicle. 2 reasons. Can you do anything for them if their vehicle is not in front of you? Absolutely not. They're just a phone call. So having the vehicle in front of you is part of being able to touch the vehicle, do the work, and get the job. Second reason, because you can't give a quality estimate on work if you haven't seen it. When it shows up, you want to see if there's mold or other issues in the interior, if the paint's trashed and the clear coat's coming off, there could be a lot of things that create issues for you that you can address before you even get started. So that way you get really good information back and forth with the customer. So
Yeah.
you're getting their expectations and you're giving them what you can deliver. And that way you also make sure you're a fit. Sometimes you're not going to be a fit. Not every customer is going to be your customer. And that's another thing you have to be able to accept and be able to walk away from. And this is an SOP that some customers, it's all right to just blow them out of the water on a price, because guess what? That's a job that you know is going to be terrible, or
Yeah.
this customer is going to be a problem. And it's easy, and it's probably better to blow them out than have to deal with what the aftermath is. Other things, and again, these are all SOPs that we use in our business, because you grow to, when you spend time in it, you start to grow to read people, and
Yeah.
it's part of that. One of the things in the paperwork I've got, I can't share the paperwork, but I can show you, and I can tell you all about it. So we have, pictures of vehicles, descriptions, and in this corner we've got basically codes that we can put on pictures for the vehicle that, like, say, scratches, dents, whatever that those mean. Same thing with interior stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We do the same thing. So we do a pre-inspection of the vehicle. The customer fills out, and then before we even work on it, they have to sign authorizing us to be able to even work on it.
Okay.
I think I've covered in the last episode that we were on that, say a customer gets a bug up their butt about all of a sudden they want to change their mind. They're unhappy, whatever. People get weird sometimes.
Yeah.
Next thing you know is you got the police department knocking on your door, and they're going, yeah, that vehicle's stolen. Well, then you go, well, no, it's not, because I have their authorized signature right here, and they filled out this form that shows they've given me permission to work on it.
Oh.
And then the cop's going to be like, oh, well, I guess there's more to the story.
Yes.
Not only that, you legally should get authorization beforehand to work, operate, touch, do anything to anybody's vehicle, because it's not your property.
Yeah.
The other thing too is this sheet, by signing it, makes them acknowledge that all of the things you've inspected are pre-issues before you started. How does that save you money? Because it makes you not responsible for their problems. it makes you also more efficient in the job, because now you've gone over it with the customer, you've established what they want, what you're going to deliver. Now you can go to that and go, we're not worrying about what that dent is. We're not worrying about what those chips are. Our job is going to be, we're going to do a polish and a 1-year coating. We're not going after perfection. So these are all things that'll help you be able to save time, money, keep you from being another one of those people that are on one of the forums that says, man, I got this message, this text from a customer. They're blaming me for the stain on their seat. They're blaming me, I damaged, or the radio doesn't work. So that's one of the things we do. We make sure all the windows go up and down, power antennas work, radios work, mirrors work. We check all that before we even start working on it. And it's noted down. Now, some stuff is able to be kept as paper records, and then we've also got digital inspections, and you can get companies, whether it's Jobber or any of the companies out there, that can give you a digital inspection that does the same thing.
Right.
We can also take these papers, and let's say you can actually scan it and put it into DocuSign and send it off to the customer. They sign it, and then you've got a signed document electronically too.
Nice. And I like what Ron said here, because I think I agree, is that he said it shouldn't read like War and Peace, meaning an SOP should be easy to follow, right? It should have language that can be, easily read. And if you're trying to train somebody on the process, right, the document is, again, efficient and sufficient.
Right. It doesn't need to be like a novel.
Right.
It should be laid out in pretty precise steps. So like most of our SOPs are, you're probably going to find everything within a 3 to 6 step process. And it's laid out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bang. Washing a car. I shouldn't have to tell someone, oh, pull the car into the shop. And it's pretty obvious, but there's going to be things there like, if you have to, and believe it or not, unfortunately, there are times where you have to break it down to where it's like dumbed down for some people. And I don't mean that as an insult, but some people they need every step spelled out for them. And some people don't.
Yeah. So let's get into the actionable part of this then, and let's be as practical as we can for those that don't have SOPs but would like to begin to have SOPs. Where do they start? So am I going to, I think the biggest thing is not to overthink it, right? Because you're already doing what you do. Now it's just documenting and fine tuning. Is that where you would say to start? Or if I were to say, Conway, today, how do I begin writing down an SOP?
There are a few different things. You could have somebody that is an outside source look at your process, watch it, and for me, believe it or not, my wife is fantastic at that. She is my biggest critic. And when I get done with the job, I can tell her to go out there and look at it. And then she comes back in and she takes my heart, throws it out, stamps it on the ground, rubs it around, lights it on fire. It says, yeah. That's, and usually I'm broken and I go out there and have to fix it. But it's one of those things that she's objective. She's able to help with that. The other is recording your processes. And then watch it and go, oh, I'm missing spots. I'm not very efficient. Look at how many times I walked around the car and I didn't do a thing.
Yep.
I wasted time. So, and then what you're doing is you're documenting this stuff, and then you build an SOP based off of, here's my steps I need to be following to eliminate this hour of wasted time, eliminate these issues that I missed. And then there's the other side of it where you go, had a customer come back and they complained they had an issue. This wasn't right, or that wasn't right. needed to inspect the vehicle beforehand before you started on it. It's those things that you experience and you go, we need to create an SOP for this so this never happens again. So SOPs are designed to solve issues, create efficiency, create productivity. Those are the main things they should help you do.
Yeah. And I think, and again, I'm saying I think, I'm not the expert here, you're the expert. but as I'm thinking of doing this, because I know this is something that I'm very passionate about, because I know that me personally, I need to be more efficient. An exterior, I've got it down. An interior, I'm all over the place because I'm not as comfortable maybe in an interior as I am with an exterior. So I guess I'm thinking personally, but if I'm going to write an SOP, for me, it would be easy to like break what you're doing into maybe phases, right? What
Correct.
you start first, what you're going to do, second. So just kind of thinking about it in chunks. What does that sound?
Right. So like, let's say for our interiors at the shop, we have basically two guys that are doing interiors. One takes left, one takes right. They basically start from the center out and they work from the front to the back, but they work center out, front to back. And it's that way with every car. And it's because in that way, the process is repeatable constantly.
Yeah.
We have basically a vacuum on each side. We have tools on each side. We have a blowout tool on each side. We've got it set up so that way each tech has their ability to do and work from each side of the vehicle, but they also work together while they're in the vehicle so they're not affecting each other's space.
Yeah.
Because you don't want this guy over here blown away and all of a sudden he's blowing all the trash into your side. So they make sure that when they're doing that kind of job, they're working in tandem together.
Yeah.
The processes go quicker. And then they also both do a deal where when they're done, they swap sides and they inspect. And the reason why is because that way, in case somebody missed something, and then you have somebody that's going to catch it.
Yeah.
It's a second set of eyes.
So what about for those solo detailers who don't have those second set of eyes? Recording?
That is going to be, I think, a huge part for most people, that if you can record what you're doing and then sit back and then watch it and just be able to freeze frame it and go, look at that. I missed cleaning out all the vents.
Yeah.
I missed cleaning out the gunk around the shifter. I missed the shifter boot, and then you start looking, or you go, man, I cleaned that inside of that windshield. I must have wiped that down 52 times.
Yeah.
Or I cleaned the window and then I conditioned and cleaned the dash. Now I got to clean the window again.
Yeah.
It's all the things like that you will find that you do, just like washing an exterior, you hit the same spot 10 more times than you probably should have.
Yeah.
So it's wasted motion.
And I think for me too, as I'm thinking about this, I know I'm catching myself just writing down everything that I know needs to be done or should be done within, a detail, and then looking at those pieces and asking myself, how is the best way to do this? How is the best way to do, you know what I mean? So having kind of a written document even before I do the whole recording thing, because I know if I don't write things down first, if I don't know exactly what I'm trying to tackle, then I'm going to forget it in the instant that I'm doing it. Does that make sense? I need to write first. That's just me. I don't know.
And no, that's a great idea, is before you do the process, maybe go examine the vehicle and look at it. And then with a notebook, take the time to write down what you think you would do.
Yeah.
And this is another way that you can do that, is write down what you think you would do and then do the job, record yourself, and then come back and see how well it matches what you wrote down. And then you can also go, well, I don't know what I was thinking here. I probably should adjust that because based on my experience now, I need to tackle this differently. And now you can take that written statement of stuff and you can adjust it.
Yeah. Ron says I should write my SOPs like a lesson plan. Except for Ron, I've been teaching so long, I don't even write lesson plans anymore. It just kind of comes. But I think that's the point too. Once you have good SOPs, ones that work, you don't have to always then look at them or refer to them.
Right. Yeah.
Unless it's things that you're getting signatures for, it's those pre-inspections, or the checkpoints after. I understand that, but after a while, I feel like you kind of start to learn without always having to check. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it. It should become a second nature for you.
Right.
As you learn it, as you grow it, as you evolve it. Now it can grow and it can evolve. And that's one of the things about having it written down that helps a bunch, because as it evolves, and it will evolve, because you'll run into situations where all of a sudden you go, well, that changes everything.
Yes.
Because this happened and it cost us time or it cost us quality. And then you're going to go, I need to go back and revisit my SOP. I need to scratch that and adjust that. And now you're gonna change it a little bit. So you shouldn't have to like pull in a car, get ready to wash and go, hold it, I need to go check my SOPs.
Exactly. Yeah.
And here I am going, okay.
What's next? What's next? Yes.
Get the car wet.
Yeah.
Next, the whole idea is it's a training tool to be able to help you establish how to do it. But once you get it figured out, you should learn it, and it should be all up in here, second nature.
Yeah.
Now, let's say you decide as an individual, you want to expand, and now you're going to bring somebody else on. Now you have a manual that you can teach them on how to do the job that you want done.
Yeah.
That they can operate off of your quality, your means, your mode, what you want, how you deliver it, because that's how your customers like it.
Yeah. Now, on the flip side, so, you learn these SOPs and you get really confident, good at your skill enough to be able to train someone else. But then also comes into play that these SOPs still are living documents, right? Because everything is always evolving. So how often do you feel you need to go back and check your SOPs? Is it when another problem arises that you come across and then you've got to reevaluate, or?
So usually you probably won't have to even, once they become a learned mode, usually the only time you're going to end up revisiting that is when you run into a situation, a problem, an issue, an error, something that, either created a cost of time or money or a problem that you need to rectify.
Yeah.
And by doing that, you're going to be able to adjust and grow your SOP to include that. Now, see, people don't understand that an SOP is almost like just basically the employee handbook. It's the documentation of how an operation works, and it works for everybody, whether you're an owner, a manager, an employee, a single operator, all of it. Because that way you create a learned process. In other words, what happens is every vehicle you get, you're doing something different on it. Now, granted, every vehicle isn't going to be the same job, but it's one of those things, though, that where you get to a vehicle and you go, it's my maintenance contract customers. It's the same job over and over and over and over. Basically, you're bringing it in, you're washing it, you're going to clay it, you're going to, check out the coating, or maybe you're whatever you're doing. It's going to be standardized. Every car that comes through, you want the results in the end to be the same on every vehicle. The job getting there sometimes can change a little bit depending on how dirty it is, how, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But the end result that you want to get to is always going to be the same.
Sorry, this made me laugh. Timothy Johnson Bay says, checklists definitely give me expert level feelings. And I laugh at that because I actually agree. When you're sitting there and you have a checklist and you are, checking all the boxes, I think it does give you confidence, right? It kind of helps to build that understanding that, yeah, I know what I'm doing. So I think that was a funny comment. Sorry. I like myself a checklist. I really do. If I can check a
Good.
box, I'm like, yeah, heck yeah, I'm doing it.
You should find what works for you, and if that works for you, then that's great.
Yeah.
Maybe it helps you keep in the game of staying going forward every step. Um, it's almost like what I call breadcrumbing. Is as you're going down the path, you're collecting, that breadcrumb as you're going down the path on your way back, and it's bam, okay, I'm making it, and I'm making it, and I'm making it, and finally you get to the destination.
Yeah.
If that works for you, then use it.
Yeah.
For some people, they don't need to do that. Some
Yeah.
people, it's good enough up here, or maybe it's having a team member that you work with that you keep each other in check, or maybe it's you're doing it at home and out of the garage, and you find somebody. Like for me, it's my wife that comes out and checks my jobs, on my paint or my coatings or my polish or correction or even just a detail.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways you can get there.
Now, do you suggest, or maybe in your business, for SOPs to actually be posted somewhere, or is it enough to just have them in a manual, posted on a rolling cart somewhere for only the employees or the actual detailers to see?
For us, we've created a book, and that book, it's not really huge, but it's a book, and it's designed for any employee that's hired is handed one, and they are expected to read it, learn it, and understand it. That's part of your job.
Yeah.
So therefore, that way, when you do it, and then you go to do the job, you'll have somebody helping train you, but hopefully the SOPs will have helped you already get some ideas into what you're doing. And then if you don't remember, or you have an issue, you can always flip back to it and go, what do we do here? Oh, I know what to do.
Yeah.
Bam. And then as they continue doing it and using it, it becomes learned knowledge that they experience, and they're doing it.
Yeah. I think something else to kind of really talk about, and I think somebody mentioned it maybe earlier on, and I think you did too, but obviously not all SOPs are going to work for everyone, right? Like SOPs are, they are for you. They're for your efficiency, not someone else's. However, I do feel like it would be nice, and maybe there is, I really have never looked online, if there was some kind of template or something to get started. I think that's always my big frustration, is like I have all of these thoughts, but I don't always know how to organize them on paper. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And I don't know if anybody else has that issue in there. Like I know what I need to do, and I have it written down in some real chicken scratch type of notes, but what is the proper way to actually put it on paper in an organized fashion? I think, and maybe that's where Chat GPT comes in. I'm not sure, but
very much so, Ken.
Right?
I mean,
there you go. Just ask Gemini.
Whether you want to have it laid out for you, you can speak the language that you want and have it laid out for you.
Yeah,
and then
that's true.
Look at it, and then once you look at it, go, I want to change steps 1 and 2 around, or I want to change, maybe you make some adjustments. It's the problem is it's hard to make a template for something that is universal in use, but can change from you to me,
exactly,
him to them. So it's really hard to make a template. I mean, things like this are actually really easy to come up with templates on. I mean, it's just customer info, authorization of work, authorization of condition of vehicle. For us, another thing that we do is we also create for our customers glossary of terms, description of care for their vehicle, like not using automated car washes, why, and paint thickness, and damage to paint caused by, and the importance of paint, and
Yeah.
the importance of, and believe it or not, you give your customers some of that, and you help educate them on some things. It makes it much easier for you to be able to get them into like service contracts that allow you to get them back all the time and care for them,
Yeah.
which is your maintenance customers.
Yeah. So in your experience, where have you seen the most time wasted during a detail? Whether it be in your early experience or you watching other people, whether it be on, YouTube or in your own business, where do you see the most time being wasted? Where an SOP could be the solution?
Usually new hires or people that are just getting started. I mean, they're like the little puppy dog because they're excited about doing it,
Yeah.
but they don't know where to start. They don't know how to start. I mean, literally, it's like there are people that don't know what a foam cannon is, and they first time using one, or not understanding how to use a rinseless. You watch people go around a vehicle and, well, they've washed that panel for the 5th time now. They're inside an interior and they've had to vacuum the car 6 different times now. And a lot of that is because they didn't do things in the right order of blowing out and vacuuming and cleaning off the dash, or they go to all the trouble to clean all the doors, all the dash and everything, and then all of a sudden they go after it with the blowout tool.
Yeah.
And now you've just blown all that stuff all over your clean and conditioned dash and doors and everything else, and it's dog hair.
Yeah. Let's clean it again now.
So I see a lot of it from just other people that are doing it. And it even happens to people that are highly experienced.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my biggest hang up right now is the decision making during a detail. If I decide that I need to switch up, the method mid job, or switch up the chemical mid job because what I'm using isn't working. I think that's the part where I start to overcomplicate and overthink. And I'm not sure if there's an SOP for decision making, but it would be nice if there would.
There is. So let's say it's in the case of we're gonna clean wheels, because I know you love cleaning wheels.
Yes.
So we know, let's say we tried a specific product that you're used to using. You spray it on, you let it dwell, you let it do its thing, you start scrubbing, and you go, wow, that just didn't get the job done. You already know what the wheel is. It's painted, it's coated, whatever it is. You know that you can go to the next aggressive step and not be a problem.
Yeah.
You should already have that in your SOP, that if A doesn't work, B is my next choice. It's just like correcting paint. If you do a test panel and we start off with a orange pad and we start off with, let's say, picar number 2 or picar number 3, and you go over it, but there's still swirls there. Well, we know our next step is we need to go to the blueberry pad.
Yeah. Okay.
Same polish, blueberry pad. If that doesn't do it, well, then maybe you need to adjust to number 2 and then try it. You should have preset out things that you go, these are my modes of operation.
Okay. And see, I don't do that. So thank you for that, and that's honestly seems like a no-brainer, but I like that.
Let's face it, we have chemical issues that that we go and we overcomplicate ourselves, because I don't care whether it's FOMO, I don't care whether it's you're just excited, I don't care whether you're hey, it's either this or crystal meth, so I chose this.
Exactly.
I don't care whether, it doesn't matter. But you should be able to go, hey, this is my process when I'm doing the job. My
Yeah.
process is I start with this. If that doesn't work, I have this next.
Yeah.
Well, what if that doesn't work? Well, then I know I've got this. These are my three paths of it's maniac, blaze, wheel acid,
Yeah.
or whatever you feel that you need to do.
Yeah. But set it up in a hierarchy so that you know exactly where you're going next. And Adamo makes a really good point here too. He says only change one variable at a time.
Correct.
And I think that's important too. Get really good at one part and then move to the next, right? That's how I would do it instead of trying to be a mastermind of 100% of it at once. Does that
So
sound relevant? I'm
some,
not sure.
some of the problems even that SOPs are lacking is they can't make up for what experience is. Experience is a difference maker because as somebody that deals with paint, as somebody that has corrected a whole bunch of vehicles, painted vehicles, I can walk up to a vehicle and I can tell you soft paint, hard paint, and you get an idea.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean I avoid the test spot? No, I still do a test spot because you don't know if it's ever been repainted. So you need to do a test spot. You need to check. You need to find your combo. You need to, and then address it from that point. But experience is above, beyond, and all one of the biggest points. As you grow experience and your SOP helps you fine tune your experience, you'll utilize that to go, this is what I need to do. This is A, this is B, this is C.
Yeah.
And I know I can make those changes like on the fly fast because I'm prepared for that.
Yeah.
Not every wheel is a dumpster fire that you're going to clean.
Right.
It doesn't need a bazooka to clean it.
Right. Coming back to your meth comment, you don't know how many times I have justified my spending habits on that fact alone. Well, at least I'm not buying crystal meth. It's what I tell myself as I click add to cart, buy now.
I said that earlier today in a chat where I says somebody asked me if I was doing crystal meth because of all the packages or something like that. I says no. It's well, you got to have a dealer or something. I had to show them pictures of Eddie and Jamie.
Yeah, they're my dealers. Ain't that the truth though, right? Yes, Eddie and Jamie, they don't even know it. Oh my goodness. One other concept I just want to bring up, and again, we've touched on it a lot before we get to the questions, I think just is the concept of time. I know that is, again, aside from being a financial, windfall to gain productivity, efficiency, but time management obviously is, I think, another huge factor and why SOPs are probably really important, especially when you're trying to scale a business. When you are creating an SOP for a particular process, do you start with a time frame in mind? So for instance, this is an exterior. This exterior should not take me more than 15, let's say, to 20 minutes. I don't know. I'm just throwing a number out there. And then you create an SOP around the time frame, or is it quite the opposite? You are creating the SOP first, and then you're trying to fit it in a number of minutes. Where does time come in?
Well, believe it or not, the best way to establish that is you do need to do some basically case studies. Case studies are relevant because they allow you to see what you're working with. And a case study allows you to take the time to go through it, do it, and see how it can be done. And then go, this is the method I need to teach my guys. And this goes back to even videoing, having somebody watching you or something of that nature. So you can go, yeah, we need to adjust that. And then you start going through the adjustments. Okay. And then you go, okay, we've gotten our process down to 30 minutes for this job. That's all it should take. And now that way, every person that you're training for that, you can do that. Or even if it's a individual that you're doing that, now you can set your timer and go, bang, I'm under my 30-minute mark. I'm 28 minutes.
Okay.
So my process is good.
And
But
where do those times come from? I think that's another question I have. You know what I mean? Like who's to say this is how long an exterior should take, or this is how long an interior should take? Where are the guidelines for those? I think I need to know because
I see I see a lot of different people out there that make these comments. I find them a little bit absurd because you try to tell someone it should take you this long to correct the paint.
Yeah.
It should take you this long to really, how do you know what this vehicle is like?
Yeah.
How do you know? Okay. So for us, if we're talking like our maintenance customers wash, basically, let's say we're doing a wash, wheels and tires, exterior wash, door jambs, vacuum, and windows. I would expect these guys should be able to get that done within 45 minutes or under.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, does that count if it's a Suburban? Does it count if it's a two-door car?
Yeah, a mini.
You're comparing apples and oranges. Does it count if the person that brings you said vehicle is a pig? Or the other guy that brings you a vehicle is the guy that thinks his car is always dirty, but it's the cleanest one that comes in.
Yeah. Lots of variables to consider there, obviously.
So, I mean, if you're, let's say we're doing that exact process. We're doing an exterior wash, wheels, tires, that includes a dressing. We're going to wash it all up. We're going to vacuum it. We're going to do windows. And that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
So a Suburban comes in. How many windows is in a Suburban?
I don't know, 8, 9.
You're talking a 4-door Suburban. So you're talking windshield, 2 front doors, 2 back doors, 2 side back windows, and a rear window.
And a rear. Yeah. 9. Right.
Right. Now we're bringing in a 2-door little coupe, a Miata, and it's a convertible.
Yeah.
So you've literally got 3 windows to wash.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. Tanner, thank you for the offer, but being as though I have an addictive personality, probably not. But thank you. Okay, so we do have a few questions starred. Let's go ahead. Again, it's already almost been an hour, Conway. Can you believe that? 53 minutes already.
And you know me, I'm going to want to do a couple giveaways.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get to the questions. I'm not sure if we have answered any of these already, but here we go. As a solo business owner, how do you keep from falling in the trap of trying every new thing? And when do you try to implement a new tool or chemical in your process?
Well, Rick, I'm probably a bad example. But actually, the truth be told on that, you got to find what works for you, one. And what works for you may not work for somebody else. And then what you do is you implement that and you keep that in that. But what you're going to do from that point is it's all right to test things and then go, that works okay.
Yeah.
But you're still stuck with what and I don't mean like stuck, you're still sticking to what you have that works. Now, one of the problems that we as detailers have is we're always looking for the next best thing that'll make our jobs easier, more magical, more whatever it is.
Yep.
And really, is it going to be that big of a difference? It depends on the job. You're not going to take a really easygoing interior cleaner to something that needs, like BioBreak and all these other products that are going to do the job. So you have to really determine what kind of work you're going to do. Are you Carlos Serrano and you're doing the kind of jobs he's doing all the time? then you're going to have the products he's going to need.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to bet you he's done plenty of product testing on his own situations to find what works.
Yeah.
And it may take you a little time, but the biggest thing is don't get sucked into thinking you got to buy everything there is that comes out under the sun.
Yeah.
Find the things that work.
Yeah.
Use them.
Well, Keith says that you're supposed to add a new tool to your process after every Keith video. And,
Well,
I do have to tell you that Keith's videos, I think it started with, and forgive me if I say it wrong, the Ely hose and the nozzle, the $100 nozzle. Bought that after watching a Keith video. I have to be careful when I watch Keith videos because I'm like, do I really need to try this Amazon foam cannon? I think I might. It doesn't break.
Right. I've probably got 6 too many foam cannons because of Keith. I've got 2 pressure washers because of Keith. I've got 2 Sun Joes because of Keith.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the.
Yep, I just bought one too.
What's the other one? In fact, he just did a review on a bigger one, and I've got the smaller one.
Yeah.
For rinseless that I bought because of Keith.
Yeah. I bought the Sun Joe and almost bought the Fantic too because of Keith.
That's it, the Fantic. I've literally got the Fantic, 2 Sun Joes, pressure wise. So don't worry, Keith. I did what you wanted me to. The only problem is none of it came with an apple pie.
Yeah, that's hilarious. All right, we have another question here. Conway, what is the biggest reason you would fire a customer?
Firing customer does happen. We've done it. We've had to do it. Again, not every customer is for you, and you need to be able to take the time to understand that. Sometimes we start looking at the money, and we get blinded by the fact that customers are not going to be benefit for you, and there's nothing wrong for admitting that. I've had to fire customers that were either we did the job right, we did it completely, they signed the paperwork for said issues, but they still want to argue that those said issues were caused by us.
Yeah.
Or they think we owe them more than what we gave them. And you really don't. You owe them what you agreed to.
Yeah.
Some people just can't be made happy no matter what you do.
Yeah. I agree with that. Can't please everybody, right? Okay, let's see. Here we go. Let's see. Is that authorization release any attorney can write up, or is there some place to find a template?
Any attorney could write one up. You could write one up. It doesn't have to be a legal document made by an attorney. It can be something that you write up as a release because it holds weight as a release, because it becomes, especially if you take the time to put your official note head on it and stuff like that, and that it is, I will also put note in there that part of the documentation that's at the bottom, grab this. We talk about removing personal items. We talk about child seats. We talk about pre-existing defects and conditions. And then below, we talk about terms and conditions of signing said release. So you want to make sure that it's not just some piece of paper that they sign and just say, yep, there you go. But it needs to have some information on there that says, customer agrees to this, and tell you what, if people are interested in that part of the documentation of what I've got, I'm willing to share that stuff.
That'd be awesome. And we could put a link in the description if so. That would be great, Conway, because I guarantee a lot of people would appreciate at least that part of it. Those are those, logistics that sometimes get hairy, scary. So it is nice to, to look at something that's already been done. Conway, with your SOP, how long does it normally take one person to do an interior exterior wash?
Well, again, there's unfortunately some variables in that, depending on the condition, the size of the vehicle, and
Yeah.
things like that. Like our typical maintenance customer type stuff, you're probably talking exterior wash, no more than 30 minutes. Interior, you're probably talking, depending on condition, 30 minutes. Usually about an hour, hour and a half process all around.
Nice. Okay. Panel by panel wants to know, what do you think an acceptable cost per wash is?
I guess you have to define for yourself what a cost per wash is. I think we as detailers try to be too cheap. We try to worry about the pennies.
Yeah.
We try to worry about all of the things that there are, and we're not worried about charging the customer for them. This
Yeah.
comes back to that being too cheap, offering your services for $50. You're not a car wash, you're a detailer. Don't try and compete with car washes. Compete as a detailer. Compete based on your service and the convenience and the care that you give.
Yeah.
Your time and everything is valuable. You should be able to make yourself a wage out of it, plus pay the business something, and then be able to invest further into it. The issues I see is we break down a cost per wash, but we're trying to see how cheap we can be with it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about how cheap you can be with it. Worry about pushing that cost and making the customer pay for it.
Nice. Great suggestion there. We have Tanner asking, Conway, what documents do you have a client sign before you will touch the vehicle? We currently have payment terms, service agreement, and liability waiver. What are we missing?
Right to work on, which would be the release that one, they need to authorize permission for you to touch the vehicle to begin with. That way they can't come back and say, well, I never said you could touch my vehicle. That way there's no legal standing. That way you have something that states, I have released my vehicles to, you know, BAD detailing, or whether it's CS Auto Tech and detailing, or whoever you are.
Yeah.
That states that I have authorized them to operate, move, work on, detail, clean, da 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 da. And then the other things would be estimate of services. Within that, always, always, always put what I like to call CYA, cover your ass. What do I mean by cover your ass into that documentation? You should never write anything as an absolute. And what do I mean by that? If you write an absolute that says your price will be $500. So what happens, you're in there, you're doing the job, you're going along, and you move a seat forward and you find mold.
Yeah.
Is that still a $500 job?
No.
No. So you need to put variables in there that are cover your ass, that says estimates are subject to change depending on vehicle and things that are found that could change the conditions of the vehicle.
Okay. Very good info there. A couple more questions. Chelsea had a few. Conway, have you painted interior plastics? If so, where did you get the paint you used?
Yes, I do actually a lot of interior restorative services, like dashes, gauge cluster panels, consoles, console lids, door panels. You'll get stuff that is either torn or scratched or gouged or cracked. A lot of those you can find a replacement, but they may not even be the same color. Companies like SEM offer plastic and leather paints and various different like that for products that you can do that with. Duplicolor, yep, Keith is another one. I use a lot of SEM because they're probably one of the biggest ones out there that do that. And you can replace a panel, or let's say you have a gouge in a plastic panel, you can clean it up a little bit, go with a little bit of a heat gun, and then you can paint it to match and it'll look brand new.
Interesting. And then the last question that we have here, also from Chelsea. Conway, is it better to have an hourly rate or a flat rate, in your opinion?
I prefer based on hourly situations. So, like, let's say for us, we're 175 an hour. We do have jobs that are specific that we will basically. I don't like to call it a flat rate, but I call it as a menu price in essence. And it depends on what the service is. So, like, let's say you want to do a glass coating, we'll have that menu priced. And that menu price has different variables in it depending on how many windows. Because again, we go back to the suburban issue.
Yeah.
A suburban doesn't have the same amount of windows as a Miata.
Makes sense. I love that. All right, you guys. Gosh, such great information here. I love it. Again, I'm always so mind blown taking notes, but Conway, I'm definitely going to pick your brain later on after the show.
I've always offered this. I've offered this to you. I offer this to anybody out there that, if I can be of assistance, I can help.
Yes.
I'm always more than glad to help. My way may not be the way you want to do it or will do it, but it'll be one of those things that maybe it gives you some insight or some direction or something that helps you to develop something that fits you even better than what you have.
Yes. And I think that's the key, right? Is just to develop something that is going to fit with what you are doing, systems that work, make you more efficient, less busy, less exhausted. I think that's another thing I think about too, is just how tired I am sometimes at the end of the detail, and not tired physically, but tired mentally, because my brain is overworking. Sometimes making things more complicated than I know they need to be. So SOPs are kind of my priority in these next couple of months here to really dial things in. Hopefully this conversation helped some of you in the chat tonight or anybody else who is watching. Should we do a giveaway?
I think that sounds great.
What are we giving away, Conway?
Well, I think in honor of the upcoming Memorial Day stuff going on with Telco.
And Memorial Day is also Conway's birthday, by the way. I had to throw that out there.
Yeah. Getting old. It's only a couple more years away from 60. So
no, you're going to be 35 on Monday. You said
35. That's been 33 years ago.
I mean, it feels like yesterday, though, right?
Yeah, that's 23 years ago was 35. So that's been a while. But literally, I'll be 58 on next Monday.
Well, that's awesome. You look great, Conway.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's I think all the hard work and just constantly going and staying active and doing what I do just has kept me that way. I don't rest for much.
Yeah.
Greg
says, whatever, Conway, whatever.
Well, that's just because Greg was around when they had dirt floors indoors.
We love you, Greg.
Yeah, Greg, I love you, buddy. It's a lot like I get asked, why do I help people in groups? Why do I try to help give info? Why do I do giveaways? I'm a firm believer in paying forward and just helping others. I think this industry has far too long been anti, let's bring it together and help each other out. Your last guest, Jeff, I've had the opportunity to interact with him a ton over his time on YouTube and stuff like that. And his whole legends things that he's doing is very much that way. It's there's no need for everybody to be so, like a competitor.
Yeah.
I mean, you should share it,
I agree. Tanner says, how are you feeling, Conway? How's the heart?
Feels great. Feels good. Doing pretty good with it so far.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. Some Facebook groups are just mean. There are some people who whose intentions just seem to be negative all day, every day. So I'm glad to have people like Conway and everybody else in the chat who is consistently bringing positivity to the industry, because we're all here to have fun, right? To
Oh yeah.
wash some cars and share some tips and tricks and SOPs while we're at it. So thank you again to everybody again who continues to kind of show up and watch these lives. I appreciate all of you guys bringing the positivity you do. And yes, don't feed the trolls. All right. I have a question. What's the giveaway? What are we doing?
So the first giveaway we're going to do is we're going to do the Detail Co. Ultimate Coating Package. We're going to do a thick, a classy glassy, a leather, and a wheel.
Wow. Are you serious?
Yep.
Wow. Okay. So this is the Detail Co. Ultimate Coating Package. That is Conway. You are so kind. Okay. That's amazing, you guys. Did you just hear that? So let's say it one more time. That's thick. That's slim. Wheel coating. What am I missing?
It's thick. It's classy glassy.
Oh, classy glassy. Sorry, not slim. Wheel coating.
Leather coating and wheel coating.
Whew. All right. All right. Get your phalanges ready. I'm not picking a number. Look at people are already dropping numbers in the chat. I'm not picking a number. I'm not picking a number, guys. That's hilarious. Look at them. Okay. What was the title of Conway's and I's last thumbnail for our last show? What was the title on the thumbnail for Conway's and mine last show, last podcast? It was a month ago now. What was the thumbnail title? The thumbnail title on the thumbnail. Like everybody's getting on their computers, searching up YouTube. On the thumbnail, guys, on the thumbnail. Oh, who got it? Look at, I see it right here.
Yep.
Right here.
Ghost.
Pro Fix revealed. Congratulations, Ghost. I love that. Beauty and the Beast. Look, how to get the lid off a bucket. I'm never going to hear the end of that. All right, Ghost. You know how to get a hold of me. I don't know if Conway, you have Ghost information, but I know I do. So I can definitely get that to you. Congratulations, Ghost. What a giveaway. Absolutely awesome.
One more.
One more.
We got one more.
No fair. Ghost has 0 pain. Ghost has got them fast fingers. I'm not going to lie. Okay. Another one, Conway. What are we doing next?
Next one is going to be a bottle of Luminous Prep Pro Panel Prep.
Okay.
And Luminous Solid Coating.
Wow. And Luminous Solid Coating. Okay. I'm writing these down just to make sure I remember her. So Luminous Prep Pro, so their panel prep and their solid coating.
I haven't gotten my t-shirt yet, Christy. I would wear that if you'd have sent it to me by now.
What t-shirt? Oh, the one. Sorry. I am going to make you a t-shirt. Sorry. I am making you one. Okay. All right, guys. I'm going to make you guys do a little bit of research again, but not too much. Okay. Here we go. EC Details. Eddie dropped a video today. What was his video about? What was he using? What was his video about? EC Details. Eddie dropped a video today. What was it about?
I guarantee it was a product of slaps.
Definitely. Oh, look at, I see it right here. David. Hold on. Here we go. David, waterless wash. He's correct. He is correct. David is the winner. Congratulations, David, on Luminous Prep Pro and Luminous Solid Coating. Congratulations, guys. Man, Thank you, Conway. You're always coming doing the most, and I absolutely appreciate you for doing so, man.
Just want to share the love, appreciate people and appreciate them letting me be a part of their lives as well. And it means a lot to me.
Yeah, I absolutely appreciate you. I appreciate everybody who came on tonight. Congratulations to our giveaway winners. And again, appreciate you for spending your Monday night with me. With that being said, good night, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.
Have a good night, everybody.